Time next week, everything will be much, much clearer. I think everything will be in place.
We should have done this next week then, shouldn't we?
Should have done.
Thanks for joining us tonight.
You're welcome.
It's been a busy one, hasn't it?
It has.
Managing to get, nicely called it last night on the Football Hour, a sign of intent, getting Paul Cook.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, obviously there are managers out there that we could have spoken to, that we could have approached, that didn't obviously have the pedigree that Paul has, and the financial package might have been less. But I think we felt that the fans this season deserved, the real deal, and I think Paul Cook's that.
Mentioned the sum of compensation that's been spent by the club, and there's everything rumoured from 150 grand up to $250,000. I'm told it's not as much as the latter, but you see it, and if there's success that follows, it's the best bit of business that you could do this summer, isn't it? Money well spent.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, success comes from the top, and you need to pay sometimes to get success, starting at the top, and that's Paul Cook. And there's been an investment made there, and obviously the intention is that investment will pay off with promotion this season.
You've used the P word there, we'll get to that in a little bit. It came clear talking to different members of the board throughout the last few days that whatever that, when I say whatever that compensation, of course you go up to a limit, but it was something that was never going to put you off because you felt you were chasing the right guy for Portsmouth Football Club at the right time.
No, I mean, it's not to say we were throwing money around. Obviously, there's 3 PST members on the board, and we're all particularly, prudent when it comes to the numbers, as are the rest of the board, to be fair. But, it was important that we weren't just going to throw money hand over fist at this guy. It's been done the right way, and it's a figure that we think is reasonable for, the skills that he can bring.
Why Paul Cook, though, when you were throwing names on the whiteboard?
Experience of League One and League Two was certainly one of the big things for us all, and success in League One and League Two, and he ticks both of those boxes.
And Vince, with the brand of football that he's set to bring, which you've seen from his Chesterfield side and Accrington Stanley before that, it's a shot in the arm, isn't it, that's needed at Fratton to liven a few people up. I looked at a few people on final day against York, and I thought they were going to have to get the body bags out.
No, there's a bit of apathy towards the end of the season. I think a lot of that was to do with not a lot riding on it. The good thing is that we're trying to get things into place, very quickly before everyone goes on their break. I think possibly, in hindsight, looking back, last couple of seasons, there's been, for one reason or another, the eye was taken off the ball a little bit, because at the end of the day we are a football club, and it wasn't until the season started that things were starting to be put in place. Whereas at this moment in time, it looks like we want to get everything done and dusted and get everything out of the way so the manager can get on with the job, which is getting Portsmouth into a position to challenge to get out of the division.
And a momentum that must be produced. I mean, as quick as a momentum can come, it can dissipate just as quick as well, Vince, can't it? Do they need to get that head of steam up? You always felt with, for example, at Fratton Park, if things could get going, it would be very hard to stop. There's never been that momentum that's been able to be built, has it?
Well, like I said, the last couple of years, it's always been taking the team, and I say the team, the players, a little bit of time to get going, and then just when you think, I'm sure the fans will think the same, just when you think, right, we've got it right, just going around the corners, we maybe lose 2 or 3 games in a row and lose the momentum again, and then it comes back again and everyone sits up again, and I think that more than anything is what knocks the fans back a little bit. But getting in the manager and getting his own people around him, getting his own players, which is important, the ones that he's after, having the name of Portsmouth behind him will help him in that respect, in attracting players. Playing in front of 17,000-18,000 people every other week will attract those players to the club, and hopefully we'll do something that we haven't done in a couple of years and start off at the top of the league and stay there. I'm not saying that get promotion, but we've got to be looking at maybe the edge of that playoff place, and anything other than that will be a bonus.
A united Pompey as well. People are very emotional on a Saturday evening if things haven't gone well. It can be raw. There's social media, so people can say whatever they want at whatever time they want. There was division at times last season. Is it an appointment that unites, gets people on the same page again?
At the moment, and until we start losing, probably, yeah. But no, I mean, yeah, of course. I think everyone can see that the club have made us, a real statement in getting Paul in, and we hope that he will unite the fans, and we're all pulled together. I mean, generally we do. And I think if we can get a good start early season, then I think it could have been for a good 6 or 7 months.
Great stuff. After the break, plenty more with John and Vince. Neil Allen from the Portsmouth Views joins us in a little bit as well. All live this evening from the Shepherd's Crook on this Friday Football Hour on tour. 2 minutes of ads, guys.
Get Vince on the decks.
Cheers. Neil? Has he run off? Neil? It's that word overhaul is used so often, but 11 out of contract players. We understand that as soon as maybe this weekend we might find out who's been kept and who will go. Not many are going to be kept.
Quite right. Pompey finished 16th last year. Or sorry, this year, isn't it? Worst season in the Football League history. So those players, majority of those players aren't good enough for a promotion push. So I'm afraid they've got to go, haven't they? There's no point keeping them here for posterity, is there? Because they're nice chaps, Pompey have to move on. They can't stay in this division, so a clear out's required, and this is definitely the man to do it. You saw him today, and he's determined, he's described as a whirlwind by quite a few people. He means business, and he's got experience to back up his big words. For me, it's an excellent appointment. Let's hope he can get this team out of this division, because we're sick to death of it, aren't we?
Very bullish in his approach to taking questions, so I'm sure dealing with all the business that he's got to do. He's got a fixed formula that he's not going to drift very far away from.
Yeah, exactly. We all saw earlier the week with it was to the club website and their interview when he said promotion, no messing about, and I think that struck a chord with everybody, didn't it? Finally, a manager talking about ambition instead of saying let's progress, let's move up the league for a couple of places. He wants out this league, and he's saying it there, and he means it, and suddenly everyone's going, hey, we could be here for a good season. So Pompey have wasted the last 2 years, and it needs a manager to grab them by the scruff of the neck and get them out of this division. Not just playoffs, he wants promotion.
We were kind of Liam Richardson, the ghost in the room earlier, was there but couldn't really talk about him, and no one would talk about him. What do you... It's a... See, I'm going to get him in trouble, but it's done, isn't it? Or very close to being done. He wants him here. Liam wants to come.
Yeah, they're still in negotiations with his backroom staff, and obviously Liam was there today, wasn't it? So that is also very telling, the fact that he's going to have at the very least 2 backroom staff coming in with him. So he's going to rip up the current backroom staff. So the board have agreed to his demands, for want of a better word, I suppose, and they want him in with all the people he trusts.
Could you add anything to that, board?
No. Paul's come in, he's his own guy, and of course we want him to have the tools he needs to do his job. What those tools are is entirely down to him to decide, and then we say yes or no.
Where does Gary Wallace, Neil and Paul Hardiman sit, you think, in the way that Paul Cook will want to move forward?
That's a question for John, I think.
It's a question for you, Neil.
It's very difficult seeing them both staying, isn't it? If he's brought in, he'll bring in at least 2 coaches with him. Where do they fit in? And also, he's coaching himself, so it's not like Harry Redknapp hires all these coaches and does nothing himself. So straight away, you wonder what's happened to Paul Hardiman and Gary Waddett. So, and also there's other areas of the back room which need looking at, perhaps. He's getting all these right people in, and it'll be fascinating to see how that evolves over the next week or so, because he did say that he was hopeful to announce his back room by next week.
Along with the players, the 11 players out of contract, of them, we wait and see how many he'll keep. And of course, in the words of Paul Cook today, 1 or 2 close to signing for Pompey, 1 very close, he told me, to signing. There's a few names that obviously you've discussed, we've discussed already.
Yeah, Carl Bennett came down for talks yesterday. He wants him, and it looks like that's the one that's very, very close. And you look at people at Chesterfield, Jimmy Ryan, he wants him. They're both out of contract. And he made a point today saying he doesn't talk about players in contract. So Gary Roberts he wouldn't go into, but the previous 2 I mentioned, Bennett and Ryan, they're out of contract, so he's admitted, I want them. I'm in talks with them. So straight
Some
away.
alarmingly big money attached to any rumour about Gary Roberts coming to Pompey. Kind of 150 grand signing on fee, 3-year deal. Just won't happen. But there seems an obvious connection between Cook and Roberts, which could keep something alive over the next 6-7 weeks.
Yeah, but what is fascinating is he's wasted no time. He said goodbye to Chesterfield on the Tuesday. By the afternoon, he was down here starting the job. He met Jed at Wallace Wednesday. He met various players. He met Ryan Taylor as well. He's worked he's gone straight into it, isn't he? No messing around, no wasting time. He's in there straight away, and it just shows his enthusiasm for the job and how serious he's taking it.
Telling what he said about Jed. He's had those talks. He understands that the situation probably isn't going to be any different to what we thought before the talks.
Yeah, I think we all accepted that was Jed's last game that weekend, wasn't it? And with the way Jed said goodbye to the crowd and spoke to him after the game, we knew that would be his last game. And good luck to that. We know Jed very well, great lad. And he deserves to be playing football best out of this division, doesn't he, really?
Nilo, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Cheers. Vince Hilaire alongside John Kimball as well. Round of applause for Neil Allen for helping us out this evening, giving us his opinion. Have to close the website, do you?
No,
Just
no.
carry on, give us money.
Yeah,
We've done it, but
Yeah, we're not proud. We'll take anybody's money.
Yeah.
Anybody, including John's.
still not donated. It should mention that the support you get from local businesses that support you in the way of transport or financial sums of money, it gets bigger and bigger every year. I know what you guys have planned for next year. We won't go into the finer details, we will discuss general plans, but incredible.
Yeah, it is. We couldn't do it without the support of local companies, and there's a few of them that have really backed us, and we've actually had one of them come forward and said they want to help us next year already, so...
Unbelievable, monumental.
We can't talk about it.
No, we can't, but we can say that, alarmingly, it's very much being in the works, isn't it?
It is. I did promise my better half that I wouldn't talk about it for 4 weeks. I lasted 12 days. Bob's fault and Neil's fault, who just happened to both be in the pub tonight. Totally coincidence, totally random. Yeah.
And it's excellent.
It is monumentally epic.
And you can only just get bigger in the numbers that take part, can't you? More charities you can raise for. In the 2 years you've done it, how much now has been raised for what? North of 10, 15 charities over 2 years?
I think we're up to £58,500.
£58,500. Tom, thanks very much for joining us. Neil and all the guys from York to Pompey as well, taking you through to our finish on the football hour this evening. You can move now. Time to reveal the Who in Blue winner. Not sure if you guys heard. 3 Blues goal scorers. You had to guess and fill in the gap almost after hundreds of entries. The prize package includes his box seats to Fleetwood Mac at the O2 Arena, thanks to our friends at Snow's BMW. Noki Lumia at 6:30, thanks to our friends at One Comma Meal for Two, a Pizza House restaurant in Hilsey. You can join us for a commentary next season, a dedicated tour of Fratton Park with Alan Knight, loads of other stuff. The winner, sorry if I mispronounced his surname, Steve Berghard. Steve Berghard, who won, correctly guessed, Jed Wallace, Tom Craddock, people thinking he scored? Tom Craddock and Paul Robinson, so congratulations to him. I'm sure, Steve, you'll be listening. I'll be in contact early next week to confirm all the details, and you can join us to see a bit of Fleetwood Mac. Be very nice, John. Look, a bit of Fleetwood Mac.
Fleetwood Mac.
Bit of Fleetwood Mac.
They're everywhere.
That's poor. It's very, very poor. Let's finish tonight with, I guess, moving forward to next season, a few ringing quotes that we've had from Paul Cook over the last 2 or 3 days, starting with promotion, no messing. He said to me today, I'm not even going to try to do his, Scouse accent, but I'm not here to finish in 10th.
Quite right too. We'd be disappointed if you did. I think, that's the ambition this season is, I think, promotion. We need to get out of League Two.
I think everyone's with us. Promotion this season, much needed, and that boost to liven things up, Vince, and to compete.
Yeah, I would be looking I'd be looking at the very least to get in the playoff positions, and then I fancy us to beat anyone in the playoffs. So no, the playoffs is a realistic shout considering the season we had last season, finishing 16th, which is not good enough for a club of this size. So playoffs would be great for everyone.
It's one of those, the amount of people not renewing my season ticket. It sounds like the amount that have come and renewed their season ticket since the announcement of Paul, a few were telling Porky's, John.
Yeah, apparently the numbers have been good over the last few days, and a lot of those that said they weren't going to renew have already, so that's pleasing. But obviously there's a lot more we'd like to, so we would encourage people to keep them coming.
And this wait now till the start of pre-season, even longer through till early August when the season starts. Get fed up of the missus taking you out to Sainsbury's every Saturday afternoon.
I know, it's boring, isn't it? I mean, I think the players are back mid-June, so it's not that far away, before the actual pre-season kicks in. But yeah, I don't think any of us now can wait already. It's an exciting season ahead of us, I think.
I think Paul's going to be one of those that drops some cracking quotes along the way. When I asked him to give a message to Pompey fans today, he said they've heard them all. They don't need a message from me.
Well, he's a typical Scouser. I think you lot in the media will love him, and the fans will love him because he's no messing, and he'll say it how it is. There won't be, they use this word now, project. A lot of managers and work in progress. I think the fans want to see stuff happening and want to see it happening now. So the new manager said that he's going to give it a right crack. So I'm looking forward to it. New face, new ideas, new voice. It would be good.
Kind of a bit weird because we're doing all the talking here, but was that time for talking to finish? For potential, John, to become more than just that at Pompey?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Paul will probably be pleased to have this next week or two out of the way, when he can then start, get the whole hullabaloo around him joining done and dusted, and really focus on what the job at hand, what he's here to do. And then obviously the real hard work starts when the lads come back, as I say, in mid-June.
Such a potential, but become so much more.
Yeah, undoubtedly. I think I was just chuckling to myself there because, as much as as experienced as our manager is and everything else, I'm not quite sure if he realises that the whole of the Fratton will try and get into that little technical box in front of the stand and tell him what to do. So when you got 11,000 people telling you what to do, it's a little bit daunting, but I'm sure he'll handle it. And like I say, I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait.
And we should finish with the P word, promotion, mentioned several times this evening. Not something to be fearful of. We have to be honest, previous managers in the recent past just wouldn't allude to it, wouldn't say it. There was more progress rather than promotion.
Yeah. That's a P word though, progress.
Yeah, but the wrong kind of P word.
I think as a fan, I want to see promotion. I think any manager, who's bold enough to come out and say that, he's got to be listened to. I think he's going to take this, I think he's going to take it all the way this season. I'm confident of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of, it's not before my time because I played against Pompey when this guy was manager, but there's a little bit of, dare I say, Frank Burrows about this man, and he took the club to out of this similar division, so I'm sure there's, you can liken him to another great Northern manager, Alan Ball, and they all had their fair success at this football club, so it bodes well, and I'm not going to sort of raise everyone's hope. I'm looking at the playoffs. I'm sure John's looking at the promotion, but playoffs, and we'll beat anyone in there.
But you said playoffs and then we'd win them, which was promotion.
Well, yeah, that's a P word again.
Because it was mentioned, I was interested to hear Johnny Moore and the Pompey players say what it is. There would have been 70 this week. This week, Alan Ball. No nonsense character, plenty aligning with Paul Cook.
Absolutely, yeah. I think, my early years were watching Bally and Vince, and that for me that era was fantastic. Was it 80, 86? That season was one to remember. And I think if Paul Cook can embrace half of what Alan Ball stood for, then we could be in for a good one.
Yeah, he's got a hell of a head start. I mean, there's no better place to play than Fratton Park when you've got that many fans behind you, and it certainly will be worth something. And I just want them to have a good start of the season, because I'm sure if we start well, we'll carry it right through. So it's very important. Everything's sorted out in the summer. Paul Cook gets everything done, and the fans can look forward to having a right good crack this season.
Vince, John, 30 seconds there. Brilliant. Thank you very much for joining us. Absolute pleasure for your company. And sadly, that is all the time we have this evening. Many thanks to John, to Vince, to Neil, to the lads from York to Pompey as well. To everyone listening this evening, thank you. To our audience at the Shepherd's Crook tonight. To Steve and the team at the Crook, your hospitality, much appreciated again. Finally, to everyone that supported us on Pompey Live and the Football Hours this evening by getting involved, playing your part. It means so much. Thank you very much. Everyone have a very good night, and we'll see you soon. Thank you, guys. I was running out of time there, but we really appreciate your support this season with the coverage and the Football Hours. Your input is great. Have a great night, and hopefully we'll see you in June-ish. Great stuff. You're recording that as well? You're recording the whole thing? Brilliant. Thanks, guys. The bar will stay open.